Hello HEMA friends and welcome to this new video. So a couple of months ago Nsabers contacted me and asked me if I could do a review of a couple of their lightsabers. Now, considering that my channel is a HEMA channel, I was like, I'm not really sure, let's consider it, but maybe not. But then I told me, well, I am a nerd, most of the people which follow me are nerds too, so yeah, why not? So when Nsabers contacted me, I asked one thing. So I asked them to receive a couple of lightsabers which were sparring viable and nothing only ornamental or only aesthetically pleasing, etc. So they went for these two models, which are probably the best in these terms, which are the Ahsoka model, which I am handling right now, and the Mandalorian model, which are also relatively cheap, considering all the other lightsabers, and they are relatively sturdy, as I have noticed in these days. So these models are relatively simple, and their name is not because they are the swords of these characters. Of course, Ahsoka uses lightsabers, but Mandalorians do not use them, besides the dark saber, but that one is not the dark saber. So these models are only inspired by the aesthetic of these two characters. So this is the motivation behind their names. So a couple of words about what you receive when you receive this kind of swords. So you receive them divided in basically two parts. The first one is the handle and the second one is the blade, let's call it. The blade is basically a hollow tube, and you screw everything together with a key that you actually receive even in the box itself. For every lightsaber you receive a key too, even if they are relatively easy to find out, honestly. So anyway, so you screw everything together, and the sword is relatively simple in the way it is made. So you have only one button which does everything. So the problem is that you have to learn, the only thing that you have to do is to learn how it works. So you do everything, you have a lot of commands, you have a lot of things that you can do, funny enough, considering the simplicity of this tool, in a sense. So you can like put on music, which I will not do because everything is like Star Wars music with copyright, etc. So you can put on music and you can keep the music go when you are fencing with your lightsaber, which is super fun actually. You can change the color of the blade, everything with this single button. There is a precise method which I will not explain here because I don't want to make 1 hour long video, honestly. So you can change the color of the blade, you can add like pulsating effects to the blade, and you can also change the sound that the sword makes, because let's say you can represent different swords of the various films. So every sword sound is represented by a name, and every time you change sound effect you hear the name of the sword that it represents, like the Darth Vader one, or Anakin before becoming Darth Vader, Ahsoka, etc., etc. So you have all these different sounds that you can change, and that every single movement that you do sounds in a slightly different way, depending from which kind of sound you end up choosing. I think this is the Emperor.
Is this training? My training? No. Always training.
Always training.
Star Killer.
Star Killer. General Kenobi. And I forgot that if you buy a coupler, you can unite two different lightsabers to create the lesser effective, lesser comfortable weapon ever existed, which anyway, I have to be honest with myself, looks very cool. So there are also a lot of funny little things, like you can turn on the lightsaber either by clicking the button or by shaking the handle. So you basically have this kind of standby mode in which you start the saber, it gets into standby mode, and if you in standby mode shake it, it turns on and off, or you can turn on with the button, and it's easy anyway to turn it off with the handshake. By the way, if you're gonna buy one of these lightsabers and you want to save some money, insert in the section discount code or gift card during the checkout the code FEDENERD to get a 7% discount, which is, by the way, on top of any other discount already present on the website. I just checked it out of curiosity. You can do it on the nsabers.com website, or if you're Italian, on nsabers.it. You can, by the way, also add the discount directly by accessing to the website through the links below in the video description. So as you have seen, there are a ton of different funny aspects related to TV series and films, but I wanted to talk more about is in relation to the fencing aspect of this kind of blade, of this kind of lightsaber. My God, blade. It's not a blade, actually. Anyway, so first of all, sturdiness. I was relatively surprised considering the thing that I have seen in the box. We went for different levels of speed during our sparring. So if you consider that while sparring normally, during my HEMA sparring, I go at, let's say, speed 8, 9. If we consider tournament speed like 10, we went with this kind of weapon at speed 4 to 7. So we tried out various speeds, starting very slowly, and then we went up in speed to check how it basically behaved and if it kept together, so if it was not falling apart. And it didn't fall apart, so this kind of hollow tube is good enough at absorbing hits, so it didn't ended up getting damaged by our sparring. We tried to control our blows, of course, because Nsabers people told me that this kind of sword was okay for light and medium sparring. So relating to this kind of thing was not easy for me. So what actually means light to medium sparring? So I tried to figure out the speed at which I could go, and I also tried to control my blows. At the end, I wasn't controlling my blows too much, actually. I was trying to hit a little bit harder, especially while parrying and going sword against sword, just to check it out. And like especially on sword-to-sword contact, the blade feels very good. I was scared about hitting the mask, so ruining this kind of tube by hitting the mesh of the mask. It happened a lot of times. I didn't ended up finding out any kind of damage. Actually, it takes away the color of my mesh because of some weird motivation, but it doesn't receive any kind of relevant damage in doing it. So you can fence with your HEMA gear pretty safely. It's so light, and because it is hollow inside, you can like spar basically only with the mask. Maybe you can use some kind of padded gloves, but if you go, like as I mentioned before, at this kind of speed, like 6, 7 speed, and you hit someone with this, it basically doesn't hurt almost if you don't hit like a specific points, like the point of the elbow and stuff like that. But it's like it's kind of relatively safe, I would say. So as soon as you have your mask on and a couple of light gloves, a couple of light padded gloves, it's fine. So this is basically enough protection to use this kind of blade, even relatively fast, I would say. So in short, funny little tool to have and fence with from time to time, especially if you like Star Wars. It's of course kind of a nerdy tool to have. You don't need them. You maybe just want them because it's fun and cool, but they also have some kind of practical aspects in a sense that they are fun enough, far better at light sparring than many other tools that we can use in these days. Simply because, one, they are hollow, they are light, and you can stop the blows if you want really easily. I actually have a lot of fun fencing with these things, especially because I don't have any kind of expectations in terms of techniques, etc. And you are also relatively more free, because I mean it's a saber is a lightsaber, so even if you touch the opponent, you just do a ton of damage. But I mean, joke aside, it's light, it's fast, it's easy to control. It doesn't hurt the opponent too much when you hit them, even if they do not wear protection. So it's a pretty good tool to have and have fun with from time to time. So very good, people. I hope you will find this video useful in some way. I hope you enjoyed these lightsabers. I actually enjoyed them quite a lot. Maybe I will do a couple videos in the future with these lightsabers again, maybe during May the 4th or whatever kind of thing, similar thing. Maybe some kind of special episode, special video on my channel, maybe analyzing the way in which you should use the lightsaber, if it would be true, etc, etc. I've seen some videos about them, and some of them are guessing like things which actually to me doesn't make really a lot of sense. So analyzing this kind of nerdy thing may be interesting in the future. Just tell me if you want to see some contents about them in the comment section or whatever. Anyway, thanks for watching, and as always, see you next time.